All right, welcome back everybody. This week's going to be fun. We're going to jump right back into the world of Jimmy Page. I can't seem to get enough of that. And so this is Good Times, Bad Times by Led Zeppelin. This is track 1 on album 1. And just right from the outset, you just knew with those 2 E chords that you're in for a decade of just great classic rock from that point on, right? But I'm going to take you through all Jimmy's guitar parts. There's actually 2 sort of double-tracked rhythm guitars that are going on, and then that fabulous lead. We'll go through that lick by lick. All right, so if this is the kind of thing that you like and you haven't done so already, please jump down, click subscribe, ring the bell. The bell lets you know when I drop new content. I do that every single week. All my lessons have chapters in them, so you can jump right to the part of the lesson that you want to see and bypass what you don't. And if you're looking for other ways to support the channel, I really appreciate that. There's thanks, just like throwing a tip in the tip jar. Or even better, you can join my Patreon page where I've got chord charts and tabs for all the lessons I do on YouTube, just like this one. So links in the description and check it out. All right, so Good Times, Bad Times. This is standard tuning. I'm on my telly because, well, Jimmy played his telly on Led Zeppelin I for almost every song. I think You Shook Me was a flying V, actually. But I'm going to play my telly. All the details of my signal chain are going to be in the description below. But by all accounts, he had a little bit of a tone bender, a fuzz. Ran into his sort of Supro, I forget what the model, but it's a Supro, and it had some mod in it. Had a 12-inch speaker. And so I've got a little bit of fuzz, a little bit of EQ, and a EP boost going on. But like I said, it's all in my description below if you want to see those details. But you want to get a sound that's something like this, which is my approximation, right? Who's going to get that exactly right? But good amount of grit, good amount of grit. All right, so the song launches with those E stabs, right? And so the fingering of that, we're going to be doing a lot of this throughout this song. He's going to be not playing every note in the chord, not every string all the time. He's going to be muting a bunch of strings. So that those first sort of stabs are going to be this part of an E chord. It's technically an E5. You're just playing, it's like a power chord. You're just playing those 3 notes. Maybe you hit the open E too. And then you can hear this note come in. Like those first 2, you don't hear it, and then the third one and the next one you sort of do, right? So it's like for the first 2, and you get that in there. And a big pull off when you go into the verse section. So the verse section, if you were to just play chords, it's like an E, D, A, back to E. But of course we're not playing chords, right? He's got, and he does this fabulous little riff here. It's based off of a D. Sometimes I think I hear a hammer on, right? It's either or something like that. Either of those will sound great. And then the next notes are so it's like you got a D chord. Sort of make that D triad, D, major 3rd, 5th. And so there's 2 ways you can do that. That's a D note. So you can either fret the D, or you can go open. And it's really hard. There's not a lot of footage of him playing this live. And there's the recent one, you know, they played at the O2 Arena in their reunion, and a little bit you can get a flash of his hand. And sometimes it looks like he pulls his fingers off, which would be, you know, which would be that. It's either a fretted D or an open D. All right, so let me just run through that a couple times. I'll do it slowly. time fretted. Right, so it's pick your pleasure on that. You notice if you're going to fret that D, if you've got your index finger on the D, you either have to do this weird jump and then you fret it with your middle finger to leave your index finger free here. Is how I would do it. Or open is the other way you would do it. Okay? So that's that verse riff. So up until this point, the guitars, there's two guitars. There actually is two different guitars going on. They just very much sound like one, but there is a left and a right guitar. At this point, they sort of diverge on what they play. One of them, this is now the chorus, are more full chords, but they're played high up on the neck. Like the chords are an A, G, D. You know, you could play it here, but that's not what's happening. What he's doing on the record is one of the guitars is playing this. It's very faint, but it's there. Meanwhile, the second guitar is just doing this A octave, or does it 3 times. Na, 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 na. That's what that second guitar does, right? So it's just doing octaves. And then when it gets to the build on that B, then he frets the actual. And he could be playing it down here. Right? Meanwhile, sorry, I jumped. I jumped. So that was the octave guitar. So the guitar that was playing the chords now does. You hear those notes, and I don't know if he jumps all the way up there to do that. That's a pretty big jump. I think he also might do. It could be that. But it's those higher notes. You're hearing those notes. So it's either B, and the chords are B, A, E, right? But the first one is this bar chord. Or that sort of builds on that B bar chord too. All right? So kind of interesting, right? If you left right those on the headphones, you'll hear them come out. All right, so then it comes to this great F sharp segment, and you hear this again in more than one probably Led Zeppelin song. You also hear it in Over the Hills and Far Away. This little riff that he does, it's right. It's all that. So F sharp, then you fret a mini bar chord F sharp up here, and you're just pulling off. You're keeping that index finger laid on there. Then you slide everything down to make a B, and you do the exact same thing. And you just sort of alter the strum. So that she would be all mine. It's that part, right? But he also does that in Over the Hills and Far Away, right? Leading up to the rhythm's a little different. It's like something like that. I just totally screwed that up. But if it sounds familiar, it's because you also heard it in Over Hills and Far Away, right? But that's one of the go-tos for Jimmy when he hits F sharp. All right. Then it comes back into your chorus, and the chorus now, before it started on an A and worked its way up to a B. This chorus is going to start on a B and work its way up to a C sharp. So the guitar that was playing the chords, the high chord, right, does something similar. Right, he's either doing that or he's doing the, whoops, which seems like a lot of work to do. I don't think he's doing that. If I'm playing live, I'm doing this. Right? And what's the other guitar doing? The other guitar is doing chords now, where he was doing just octaves. Now he's doing chords, but he's doing them in the first position, and they're very, very understated. He's just doing very, very easy. Both those guitars end up with that on that thing, right? That big stab. Then it's our guitar solo. What are the guitars doing in the guitar solo? Well, one of them, the chord guitar, is doing some version of E, D, A. And you can hear some of those higher notes. So he's either up here doing is that 1, 2, 3. So you could do that, or you can do that's one way. Now the other guitar is just doing these big on the one of every measure throughout that whole thing. So one's busy, one's just doing that big stab. All right, and it runs all the way through that. I'm going to talk about the solo in a minute. And then coming out of the solo, you're going to go into your original chorus where you're in the A. And I think on that chorus, the second guitar, instead of just doing octaves, is now doing I just can't stop playing. Yeah, so it just goes back and does their choruses. So many of you, when you're playing this live, you might just have the one guitar that can just do the rhythm guitar, or both, right? When I'm doing that, I just tend to play sort of a hybrid of the two, you know what I mean? When you're playing the choruses. That seems to cover it the most for me. Yeah. So let's talk about the solo. Oh my God, how cool is this solo? So added feature. So the big effect that's going on here is a Leslie that he's adding on at sort of the higher speed rotary speaker. I've got my Neo Instruments Ventilator 2 is what I use for mine. This is my fave, and I'll put the settings down below there. That's going to get you all the goodness that you want. So this solo is a lot of E minor pentatonic and a lot of great sort of ripping patterns. And there's a couple different ways that I've seen guys play it. I'm going to do one part of the solo that I think many of you might have learned it differently, but I would encourage you to try. I'll call out the part. I'll encourage you to try it the way I'm doing it, because I think it's a lot easier, and I think it actually is what he did. So all right, so the first sort of section of the solo is just your Chuck Berry. It's that sort of thing. I'm going to take the effect off, and I'm going to turn my sound down because I just want, or my volume down, just to get the part right. Okay, so the part is. Did you get that pull off? Right? But when you put the effect on, I love that little pull off. And he pulls off because he's jumping up to this higher position. I'll put the effect off. You're going to come all the way up here to 20 on the B string and do that two-step bend. With the effect. Right, so both of those together. Right, now this next one, this was the first speed riff that I ever learned back in the day. But it's an E minor pentatonic scale, right? Right, but he's going to slide in, he's going to start it, not down here, he's going to start it on the B note, on the A string at 14. And it's just a pattern. Right? Now with the effect. Faster. Nice. Woo! And then the next part is here on your 15th fret on the first string. Turn the effect off. God, I love that. With the effect. That's so great. So he's playing around in that little B.B. King box, right? The B.B. King blues box, I guess they call it, but that's a cool little nuance there. So you do a full bend up, or you actually start it already half bent up, and you're just bending it down half a step. Whoops. And you go major there. And that big bend on that E note there on the B string, right? All right, so let's knit all these together. Here we go. Jimmy, right? So then it's the Good Times, Bad Times chorus. Bass. All right, now here's the next set of riffs on the outro. I love these, man. These are just great. So this first one that he does was the one I was talking about. It's the one that I think would be better played the way I'm going to show you here. So I think, well, here's the riff as I play it. Okay, so I always thought, when I taught myself this, that it was, that you're doing it from this. And you can do it, but there's some pull-offs when you like really listen to it isolated, and you listen to his fingering. I don't think you can really get it that way, because the first little thing that happens is actually, like if you were to just do the pattern precisely, it would be. but that's not what happens. What he does is, it's a subtle little thing, but he only does this first, you know, the little thing on the first string, and he's done with it. He just lingers on that second string. Right? So it's not, it's, if you want to get down to it. So that's why I think it's this position, because you kind of can't do that well. Because this little is now. It's, I don't know, maybe just me. Do it whatever you want, but that's how I'm going to do it. Yeah, so a little bit slowly. Big wiggles here. And you end up sort of wiggling it up to an E, because what's happening is that's what's happening during that part. And so he's sort of wiggling all around there. And he actually doesn't go down. He actually doesn't go down to that. If you're hearing that on the record, it's because it's one of the rhythm guitars doing that. But all right, so that's the first lick. All right. Next one is kind of easy. We're gonna play up here on this 20th fret again. It's like a taunting whistle or something, right? Here's without the effect. Right? And then same position, just move over to the first string. And then back to the B string. You know, it's like a cat call whistle or something. It's funny. All right? And then the third one is just your bend, where you're going to put 15th fret on both the first and second string, and you're bending up the second string. And that's why having that effect just makes it sound like the record. That Leslie thing is the best. And then you're going to do one of these bends. All right, this next run that he does is an E minor pentatonic at the sort of traditional position here. Okay, so that lick. A little pull off there. Yeah, isn't that great? So there's a couple, when you're trying to figure out like exactly how he was playing it, there's a couple things to think about. Like the clue, there's a clue. There's a D note, but you can also play that here. He lingers on this D, and then he lingers on this A, and he pulls off to that E. So at some point he has to get down to here. So the decision is, where is it in this run that he's moving his hands down? And if you actually slow the track down, which you can do with software, and isolate the lead guitar, what you hear is he pulls off when he gets to that part here. He pulls off, and that's why I think he brings it down here at that part, because the next notes in the riff, you know. Anyway, so that's that one. And then the last one that's like very at the end of the fade out that you hear is that little one that's right on the B.B. King box. Love that one. So when you try and knit these outro licks together, it's, let's see, here's the first one. I know what it means to be alone. Do wish I was at home. I don't care what the neighbors say. I'm gonna love you each and every day. You can hear the beat within my heart. We're never gonna part. Alright, so those are all those little licks. I hope you can hear it in your head where it is going in that song. But Robert Plant, I am not. Nor am I Jimmy Page. But hey, that was all the guitars in Good Times, Bad Times, and I hope you learned something new today. If you haven't done so yet and you like what this is all about, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Ring the bell. The bell will let you know when I drop new content. Do that every single week. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this, and if there's another song you want me to take on and do a lesson, let me know what that is too. But until next week, take care, everybody.